Hello.
Hello.
Hi, James.
I was raising a fist while singing along.
Were you
or humming along
is
to
that
the music?
like raising a fist like that?
No, just out of just.
Oh yeah, just a nobly clenched fist.
Yeah, kind of in your face to the copyright of that song.
Yeah,
it is
yeah.
long
Take
since
that.
passed.
It has long since passed. Joke's on you, Robert McGonaghy. No, that's the name of the grandson of the person who composed it. Who I know.
Robert McGarby.
you have hilariously misheard there. No, McGonaghy. It was McGonaghy's orchestra, but I got the name wrong because I named the person who is a relative of that guy who introduced me to that song. It's a really dull story.
That's not that dull.
But the way I tell it is quite dull. So I want to start with an apology because I have spent the last week, struck down by popular SARS-based respiratory disease, coronavirus, Omicron variant.
Oh.
And so I'm feeling a little bit rusty. So what that means is there's a lot of pressure on you, James, because I'm just going to be coming at you with just pure rust. And you're going to have to keep the energy up quite a lot, I think. You're going to have to... The normal 30-second to 3-minute gap between setup and punchline that we have achieved in the live streams, it's going to be even longer. The punchlines may not come in this episode. They might be later. So are you ready for it, really, is what I'm asking.
Me, personally... Not really, but we'll just have to struggle on. I've always felt that I'm perpetually 30 seconds away from a punchline. So
yes.
That, coupled with lag, it's really gonna put the audience through their paces.
You're the philosopher Zeno of punchlines. Every time you have to reach a punchline, you have to cross half the distance between yourself and the punchline. But then the punchline has moved slightly further away from you, rendering it impossible.
Yes. He was called Zeno.
Wasn't he?
Was he?
I think so, yeah. Zeno...
Warrior Princess.
Warrior Princess, yeah.
Yeah. Cool.
I was trying to say it, but the words wouldn't come. Because of what, James? Because of the rust. Oh, yeah. People have already noticed that my hair is also the colour of rust.
Oh.
So it's wall-to-wall rust today. I'm like a garden fork. I'm like lawn furniture. I'm like the screw on lawn furniture.
Oh, no. Rust through and through.
Yeah.
Threaded with rust. Someone was saying that I was a little quiet.
Are you a little bit quiet, James?
Am I still such?
I can bring you up a little bit for the people listening. Would you like to say something, James?
Yeah. I've tidied the shed.
You have?
By the way. You probably can't tell because it's the little corner of the shed that I allowed myself to be filmed in front of was always the tidiest bit.
And now you've tidied the parts of the shed that we can't see.
Yes, yeah. But
which just really makes for such incredible live streaming.
I know, but I did find
and podcasting for that matter.
Oh yeah, even better podcasting. Someone saying that they once tidied a shed. I found my
I tidied a shed. No, you can't see it. Just imagine it.
I don't wish to describe it apart from to say it was tidy.
Are you complaining that I'm too quiet now? I don't think I'm too quiet. I'm looking quite loud. Do you want me to be
Don't
louder?
be trolling us.
Let me. If maybe Canis Corvus is, maybe Sifusup is talking nonsense. I think I'm being undermined because the chat know that I'm rusty. They know I'm rusty, and they've taken that opportunity to pounce upon me.
So Katy Perry, or Katy Perry's OGBF, I don't know what those letters stand for. Original Grand Bothering Father. No. Has asked me to say a couple of things, which makes me think that she is, in sort of a callback to our Brass Head episode, is attempting to make a faux shakeshaft head, and she just needs these last little bits of words in order to complete the voice synthesizer.
Yes, and then she'll be able to open the voice-activated lock in your study.
Yes, exactly.
Well, go ahead and read the script.
You want me to say garage and aluminium, I believe. I'm happy to do that.
She might be wondering whether you pronounce it aluminum
garage
and garage, the way, of course, Americans pronounce it.
Garage.
Garage. The aluminum door to the garage.
I drove the car to the garage. I parked my car in the garage.
My car was full of garbage, so I parked it in the garage. Perfectly reasonable.
My car is made out of aluminum, so I put it in the garage.
That's how Americans talk.
Yeah, it's with the face as well, I think. Is very...
is that my car? No, my car is not in my garage, in that garage.
They're that gif of the guy being astounded by something. I've got a bunch of aluminum to put in a garage. I bought this aluminum at a garage sale. So I think I've said it enough now. So if you can't clone my voice and my American voice from that, then
that means they'll be able to get into your American study as well.
Oh no!
That's where all the flags are, and the eagle.
Yeah.
And the big drum of oil.
Yeah, and
someone's asking which British actor does the best American accent. You just heard him. It's James Shakeshaft. It's British actor James Shakeshaft.
Yeah.
Didn't you hear that? My aluminum car in the garage. Didn't you hear that?
I bought an aluminum car at a garage sale.
You're listening to it.
Please don't steal my things from my study in my voice-activated safe.
And before you ask if he is a British actor, check out his IMDb page. It just proves it. He's got several credits.
I went to mime school, where that's not where I learnt the American accent.
No, because mimes are all French.
Sean Connery. Someone wanted me to say rhododendron. I guess probably.
You've been spending all the time between the podcast where you said rhododendron several wrong ways, and now perfecting that pronunciation.
Rhododendron. Anyway, I found these when tidying up the shed. My I Spy with David Bellamy.
That looks like you forget how bad things used to look. That looks like you'd mock that up for as a comedy example of an unconvincingly bad book.
Yeah, look at well, it wouldn't have been Photoshop. Photoshop would be a madman's dream.
Yeah. The favorite dream of a opium-eating lunatic. Absolutely.
It wouldn't even be Photo Startup. They didn't even know what a startup was back then.
Didn't know what photos were.
Shop.
They had to do everything as on linotype, I think.
Now, don't dox me, but look at that for a 6-year-old's handwriting.
This book belongs to little Jimmy Shakes, skirting past your childhood address in case any time travellers want to kidnap James to get into his child study, which requires the voice of child James Shakeshaft.
Which is impossible for me to do nowadays due to larynx.
Because of the deep bass baritone.
My deep bass baritone.
Yeah.
And this one, the other one I had, must have been when we moved to the countryside. On the farm, the sort of things that you could spot on the farm, a crop dusting helicopter. I didn't even know they existed.
Just shooting down David Bellamy.
Oh, look, there's a lovely picture of him now.
That's nice, yes.
Just off centre by a dry stone wall.
Mm.
Classic Bellamy.
Bellamy.
Ooh. I hadn't actually looked inside this one. I didn't like writing in books. I don't know if you were like that as a child.
Yeah, whenever there's complete this word search, it's like I will on my own sheet of paper, while maintaining the pristine state of the book.
I didn't think to do that. I just I just tried to remember where I'd seen things, sort of trace them over my finger and like remember they were there, and then tick them off, and then it would last forever.
We should get on with the podcast, but BB Miller 11 has just said that, James, that you look a little bit like Jermaine Clement from Flight of the Conchords. Can you do a New Zealand accent?
Yeah, a little bit, eh?
Can you do a bit of a New Zealand accent? What there? Can you?
Oh, yeah.
Are you doing it now?
Yeah, I can.
Am I doing it? Or am I doing South African? I can never remember. Which one it is. It always goes a little bit South African when I try.
Then I went and got some aluminum from the garage sale.
Oh,
Don't get into my South African study. I was New Zealander, and then I went and bought some aluminum from a garage sale. I don't know. I think that's
I think that's it. Yes, I think that's right.
That's gone South African.
I've gone South African again. I can't not do it. I don't know. There just aren't that many accents out there in the world. Eventually, they all end up being South African.
Antipodeans they drift.
Antipodeans like South Africans, like Afrikaner South Africans, the famously Antipodean accent.
They're anti of someone's Podean.
They are indeed.
No, they're not. There's probably barely even an island on the opposite side. Maybe a Russian ice bridge. I don't know though.
Well, I'm really glad we did that. Have you got a... Oh, so there's a couple of new people in the chat. If they are still there. If they haven't been put off by the cavalcade of accents and general lack of structure so far.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, more people are making fun of how South African my impressions were.
What, the South African ones?
I mean, essentially, they were South African, so how can you mock me for that? Anyway, but they are.
They're going to be in your South African study doing that mocking, I'm afraid.
Not my secret South African study. Okay, so what happened? So I'll start the podcast. No, sorry. Did you raise your hands to say stop there, James?
No, I was just wanting to prove my mime credentials because someone. But now people are going to be able to get my bloody mime study.
It is quite easy to get in there because there's no glass in the windows, and
there is
very windy, but that won't actually stop them.
But you just got to pull the rope. Keep pulling that rope, and that's where the treasure is.
Once again, your efforts to turn this into a mime-based podcast, I resist. I resist your efforts.
I've long said silently that would be a great podcast. I always talking about my mime podcast, and no one's listening to me.
So, welcome to Loremen, a podcast / live stream about local legends and obscure curiosities from days. That's right, of lore. No, you're. Oh, so rusty. So rusty. I got it wrong. I tripped up on my own tongue.
Oh, shall I do it?
Yeah, you do it. I've made a fool of myself.
Welcome to Loremen. No, I'll do it. Welcome to your Loremen, a podcast about local legends and obscure curiosities from days of yore. I'm Hank Shakeshaft.
Podcast about local legends and obscure curiosities from days of yore. That's me actually trying to do a... No, it's gone South African again. Forget it. I did it for a bit.
I'm James Shakeshaft. I don't know where that was from.
And I'm Alistair Bickett King. No.
Okay, let's do it actual in our actual.
Right.
I don't know if I've got a voice anymore. Welcome to Loremen, a podcast about local legends and obscure curiosities from days of yore. I'm James Shakeshaft.
And I'm Alistair Beckett King.
I genuinely really nearly said I was Alistair Beckett King by accident there.
Wow, it's just so confident. I mean, competent. I'm very rusty. These are some of the words I'm saying, James, are just examples of rust. Little flecks of rust firing at you. Whoa, careful you don't get tetanus. Watch it.
Yeah, I'll get lockjaw. And then I'll be trapped here. But I want to talk to you about a little town called Bawburgh in Norfolk.
That's lovely. Could you give that to me without a but at the start for the edit?
Yes, and I'm going to turn the buzz off my phone because I heard it buzz.
You got a little story for me there, James, in your warm pouch.
Yes, like a sort of a storytelling marsupial.
Yeah,
I'm going to pull this.
Get that Joey out of the way.
Story out of my pouch.
And just rub the mucus off and give it to me.
Yeah, and then it's going to have its sort of third trimester in front of everyone here now. I want to tell you about a little town in Norfolk called Bawburgh.
Are you pulling some Norfolk lore out of the bag?
Yes, I am actually.
Out of the pouch.
I wish I'd thought of that pun already. Can I still get points for that?
We'll see. We'll see how I'm feeling.
Okay. Now the town is spelt Bawburg. So I was very disappointed to learn that it was pronounced Bawburgh and not Bawburgh.
Bawburgh.
Because it sort of sounded a bit like a Scotsman exclaiming something.
Yeah. Bawburgh.
Oh, it's cold. I can feel it in Bawburgh. Don't know what they're talking about, these Scottish people.
Bawburgh.
So it's Bawburgh. And I want to tell you about a humble Bawburgh saint called St Walstan.
How a Glaswegian pronounces Barbara. Bawburgh. It's not. It's not.
Is that Bawburgh?
Bawburgh.
Hey, Bawburgh. Have you seen Bawburgh?
Bob and Barbara. They're a lovely couple. Have you not met them, James?
Bob and Bawburgh.
Yeah, Bob and Barbara. They run the local shop. Yeah, lovely couple.
Now then, before I tell you about, I'm going to give you a little saint soup song, a soup song of saint.
Oh, yeah?
Nearby is East Dereham, where there was a saint who supplied starving nuns with food. The saint's name? Saint Withburger.
Really?
No, yes.
Is that true?
She's called Withburger.
Saint Withburger.
Two sisters, also saints. Saint Ethel Dredder, classic old school name, and Saint Sexburger.
Oh, so the nuns were lucky, but maybe not as lucky as they could have been.
Yeah. Yes.
I thought you were going to do like a Saint McChicken joke, but I wasn't ready for Sexburger. You can't even get that at McDonald's.
Saint Nuggets. Yeah, that's one of them definite like off menu, like menu hack options. Yeah, so that she's just in there for points, basically.
Well, you've got them.
Yep.
You've got them. Enjoy them.
Thank you very much.
Pop those back into the pouch. They're not coming back out. Scoop them in, spoon them in, ladle them towards yourself.
I suppose I was going to say, do kangaroos have trouble getting rain filling up their pouches? But then I realised they live in Australia, where it famously doesn't rain.
It seldom rains, and even if it did, they would just hop it out, wouldn't they?
And spill it, yeah.
Yeah, they'd just hop it out. That's what I do.
You really don't want to throw the Joey out with the pouch water, as they say in Australia.
Famous Australian saying, you don't want to throw the Joey out with the pouch water. That's how they say it. You don't want to do that. No.
Oh, it's like I'm listening.
It's a little bit Fagin from Oliver there. It's veering. It's veering. Please continue.
Our saint, St Walstan, was born in 975, and he was of royal lineage. His mum and dad, Benedict and Blid, or Blidia, or in some cases, Lydia.
Blidia.
Yeah.
No, don't. It's not got a nice ring to it. Blidia.
No.
It's no Sexburger.
or with burger. I'm happy
But
for
Lydia,
with
it
burger,
sounds
to
like
be honest.
you've stopped yourself from swearing while saying it. You'd be like, Lydia.
Oh, Bawburgh.
I hate her so much.
So he was of royal lineage, but he gave it up to live a life of piety and poverty. And for 30 odd years, he worked as a labourer, giving away his earnings. And one day the farmer gave him some new shoes. He gave them away.
That's almost rude.
Well, that's what the farmer's wife thought.
Hmm.
And she was so annoyed that he'd given this gift away. She made him clean, cut back a big thorn bush with no shoes.
Oh.
So you can imagine. But God protected his feet.
Is this a miracle?
This was a miracle. His feet were unscathed, and the farmer's wife was absolutely amazed at this, and she fell prostrate.
Yeah. Took me a second because of the rust, but yes, prostrate was correct.
She fell prostrate.
You don't want to fall prostate.
No, especially not a woman.
Last thing you would want.
Not in Bawburgh. So the farmer's wife, she was like, and she told the farmer about this miracle, and the farmer was also like, can we give you something? We need to give you something. And he was obviously like, you're not really understanding this life of piety, are you? I don't want things. But
I have to say, there's a lot of skepticism in the chat as to whether this actually constitutes a miracle.
What?
I think people are not as impressed as maybe the farmer's wife was about him not getting prickly feet.
I guess because...
Is that definitely the work of God, creator of the universe, God, friend of the podcast?
What? Protecting someone's feet?
He
puts the God in...
I just feel like the bar for God has to be higher than the bar for Crocs. Maybe
Crocs work in mysterious ways.
They certainly do, yeah.
No, to be fair, he's obviously not worn shoes for 30 years, so his feet would get quite hardened.
Yes, like a New Zealander's feet.
Really?
I'm thinking of hobbits.
Yeah, that's where they're from.
Yes, the famous. Yeah, I'm thinking of Peter Jackson, like Peter Jackson's feet. You ever seen Peter Jackson's feet?
I haven't.
I'm walking around the studio shoeless today. It's because I've got really hard, leathery feet.
But it's making the noise of hooves.
Yeah, he's got hooves.
The Foley guy's like, well, I could record this for the horse scenes later. This would be great.
Yes.
But the boom operator is fuming.
Fuming boom.
Fume on the boom.
Yeah, I know it's South African. I'm doing a South African accent on purpose now.
Rewind to the beginning of the video to understand the context for Alistair giving all accents to be South African.
It's because I slid into a South African accent by mistake, and now I'm doing it on purpose. It's like a joke on you, actually. It's not because I can't do it.
Really, it's good that you can do a South African accent so recognisably.
So inescapably.
So all he would accept was there was a pregnant cow, and he said, I'll have the baby. If that's okay.
Whoa. I'll have the baby.
Of the pregnant cow.
Of the pregnant cow. So it's a confusion around the verb have is what happened to me there. When he said, I'll have the baby, I will give birth to this calf.
That would be a miracle.
That would be a miracle, exactly. You doubting Thomases in the chat wouldn't be like, oh, not very impressive. That's just standing on your tiptoes. Yeah, squeezing a calf out. Very impressive.
I'd like to see Peter Jackson do that. I'm going to give birth to this calf. And now I'm doing it. I can't get back. Right. But this cow gave birth to 2 bulls. So he lucked out there. And the 3 of them became the best of friends.
Right. Just one of those standard man-bull friendships.
Yeah, and he'd hook him up to the car and he'd pull him around the town. Very piously, though. He probably didn't make a song and dance out of it. It would just be like,
yeah,
oh,
they're just
is
mates.
what God would have wanted. But then one Friday in 1016, an angel appeared and told St Walstan that he was going to die.
Oh.
Yeah.
Who's going to look after these cows, these bulls?
His pair of bulls.
His bull pals.
Bawburgh. Well, he said, Brother Walston, on the third day you will enter paradise. So Walston was like, get the priest. Priest came over, said, I need my last rites, please, priest. Priest was like, I'd love to, mate, but I haven't got any water. So a spring appeared.
Is that just because his throat's dry? Or do you need to,
I don't know. I thought it was christenings.
Require extreme moisture? I'm trying extreme unction, which I think is the Latin name for the last rites. Extreme unction, which I think is the Latin name for the last rites. It does sound like it's been branded by those male sort of skincare products that have tried to make it sound more dangerous. You know, like the moisture grenade, extreme unction.
Yeah, has it got like
when unction isn't enough?
Is it full of Jesus alides and other of those chemicals that are made up?
You can get all those, because I used to shop in Holland and Barrett a lot because it was the only place. It's a health food shop, and it was the only place that would sell vegan snacks a while ago, back before it was mainstream. So it was a weird clientele because it was just like hippie vegans like me, and then people, sort of middle class women who believe in homeopathy, and then bodybuilders just all meeting together. It's like it's the perfect place for us to be trapped in case a post-apocalyptic future has to happen outside. And then like the three main types of person, hippie, lady, bodybuilder, have to rebuild humanity and maybe fight for survival with the perfect RPG party.
Yeah, that is the perfect. You've got the wizards, the other wizard,
tank, and a second kind of wizard, like maybe a mage or a priest. Yeah, a thief. But there probably would have been someone in there. In fact, I think I have been robbed in a Holland and Barrett, so there might have been a thief. So
really,
perfect D&D party.
Is that because they weren't sure that they didn't know about the bodybuilding element? They thought it was just going to be hippies.
Yeah, but an easy target. They didn't realise that you can buy whey powder as big as an overweight child.
Like it's like those things that you see people use for sending stuff abroad. When people say, like, you know, when you hire a barrel to send abroad. No. It's a very niche reference. That's a very niche way of saying reference. As our French cousins say, reference. It's a very niche reference.
You're like one of those people who say restaurant.
It's a niche reference. That was an American, just for balance.
They do say niche, don't they?
They do say niche. It's not the word.
Niche. Mom, it's in the niche.
But then maybe because when they hear us go niche, they're like, ooh, restaurant of my
enough.
Croissant.
Fair enough.
Too sweet.
We simply say it as an homage to the French.
I have not met a French person that has ever heard the phrase double entendre. Really? It's not an elaborate double entendre. That is a life fact. Shake Shaft life fact.
Well, I have not met a French person, and I'm happy.
So
that's not true. I met several French people who were nice. Carry on, James.
I met several French people, and I am unhappy.
Yeah, I've got specific grievances about each of them, but there isn't time for that now.
The chat, Lisa9920 says they need a French accent a bit more, please. Someone's trying to hack into my French study.
Oh no! Liste des Françaises! No entry for you! Voice recognition, Suleiman.
I bought my tinfoil from a boulangerie. That's the only name of the shop I can remember. Right, so the water appeared as if by magic, as if by God's magic, miracle. And he was given the last rites and he died on the Monday. But before his death...
that's two miracles now, which is he's nearly up to the full complement of miracles, saint-wise.
Before his death, he specified his body be put on the cart and pulled by his 2 bull buddies.
Yes, his 2 bull pals.
And wherever they stopped, that's where he would be buried.
Oh, but a good old-fashioned let's let the cows decide situation, just like in Durham.
Yes, exactly. Which also featured a famous thorn bush, perhaps.
Yes, there were lots of thorns and some benty grass, as I recall.
Benty grass?
There was benty grass in Durham, yes.
Oh, dear. I'm terribly sorry. It's that as in grass that's just been flattened?
I don't know.
I
looked it up.
Zigzag
You'll have to re-listen to the
grass.
episode where I explain what it means, because I've remembered the word but forgotten what the meaning is.
Yeah, so he was to be buried wherever the cart stopped. So they toddled off, these 2 oxen and the cart, straight towards a river. That's literally the worst place they want to go.
Yeah.
And they reached the river, and they just went straight across that river, Jesus style.
Shallow, was it?
No. They went across the river on the top of the river.
Water.
And they said that you could still, for hundreds of years, you could still see the tracks that the cartwheels had left in the river as it went across.
In the water of the river?
Yes. Yeah,
That's what a cool special effect.
Back to the Future style.
I've never heard of anything like that, except now that you mention it in the film Back to the Future.
But that was flames on tarmac. This is divots on water. It's much more boring.
Absolutely. It's a lot duller. Yes, much more Norfolk.
And one of the oxes, was that right? Oxen, probably.
Ox. I think the word you're looking for is ox.
One of the
oxen. One of the oxen. Yeah.
Ox. Staled.
It's staled?
It did a stale. It staled.
It's having a wee?
Yeah, it did a wee. Did a
wow.
wee. And there, a spring appeared.
Well, yeah.
Out the ground. Not yellow spring.
Yeah.
String. Yeah.
Okay. Is it one of, was it sort of running in the opposite direction to a string and pointing directly at the bull's pizzle?
Yeah, it's like a reverse mannequin piss boy from Japan. And then they carried on. The oxen carried on, and they got to Bawburgh, and the second horse staled, did away. And there's a well there now. So, what? You're not happy with the well?
I'm not happy with the inclusion of bull's wee wee in my miracles. If I were a saint.
These were the 2 further magical miracle wells, which were caused by bull's wee wee. And this well.
Oh, I'll just have a drink. I'm so thirsty. It's really put me in the mood to drink water. The story of the bull's wee.
So, there's a little poem about that well as well.
Is there?
Yeah. Okay. Next beyond ye parsonage, as you may see, both to man and beast doth great remedy. That's it.
Oh, that's it.
Good. That's the poem.
It's good. It doesn't mention the book. I can see why you would gloss over the. It came out of a bull's willy part.
Yeah.
Part of the story, really.
It'll do you good. So basically, it was a cure-all, and it was sold in Norwich. Water from this well was sold in Norwich into the 20th century as a cure-all, and there are cures attributed to it, according to, I think, Law of the Land.
And is he getting all the credit for it?
The Oxwee.
What was his name? Yeah,
St Walstan. Yes, it is. It's St Walstan's well in Bawburgh, and then they found the second well, and I think it's on a golf course. And I'm not sure if they know where the first well is.
Ugh. Golf.
And then the ox. What? It's a lovely day out.
Is it?
But it's very frustrating.
Are you? Yeah. I'm sure we've talked about golf before. I can't remember if you're a golfer or not.
I have golfed.
You have golf.
My
the past tense is golf.
father-in-law is very keen to get me into golfing.
Mm-hmm.
But it is like having a nice day out in the countryside, but also being judged at the same time.
Yeah. And I can get that with my dad without the outlay for balls and sticks.
That's true. Yeah. It's very satisfying when you do it well.
Camus Corvus is complimenting me on calling a bull's wing wang a pizzle. Apparently, I'm the second person they've heard use that word. The first was a softly spoken cowboy teaching USDA meat grading in Alabama, which I think might have sounded a little bit like this. Right,
hey,
in the business, we call it a bull's pizzle.
I bought a bull's pizzle at a garage sale. It was wrapped in aluminum. I thought it was a hoagie.
That's an old-fashioned word for a bull's wing wang. For a bull's
Does you have to say bull's pizzle, or is pizzle do the business?
I think specificity is always welcome. So throw a little bull in there, help someone out. Avoid confusion.
Yes.
You don't want the wrong pizzle being formed into a dog chew toy or what have you.
Yeah. I think I've come up with a new catchphrase for pizzles, though. Bull's pizzles do the business. Or, Bull's pizzles do the bizzles.
Do the bizzle, yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely.
Pizzles do the bizzle.
Were they named by Snoop Dogg? Was this softly spoken cowboy Snoop Dogg?
And now I would do, if I knew a single Snoop Dogg lyric, I would have done it in a South African accent there. But I don't. I literally know I don't know a single one. The
only thing that ever springs to mind of Snoop Dogg is him talking about drinking gin and juice. And in the context, I would not want a sip of that gin and juice if a bull pizzle was involved.
Yep.
And he says it. And I think he says he has his mind on his money and his money on his mind. But I mishear it in my head as his mind on his mummy and his mummy on his mind. And I think, what a good boy.
What a nice son.
So the oxen carried on to take your saint corpse to its final resting place. This wasn't the final resting place.
Except that you did to begin with.
Oregano Trail. Oregano. It's the Oregon Trail.
You have died of dysentery.
Didn't expect that. So they went up the hill to the church. It's now called St Walstan's Church, St Mary and St Walstan's Church. So presumably back then it was just called St Mary's. And angels opened up the wall, and the bulls went in, and they stayed there for 3 days.
That's easier than just going round, isn't it?
Through the gate.
Yeah, that's reasonable. Just open up the wall.
And they stayed there for 3 days. Doesn't say whether they did a wee or not, and there's no wells there, so I'm guessing they didn't.
They just held it for 3 whole days. That's very impressive. I struggled to hold it for the whole of a live stream.
They did. I actually went to visit this place, and I have a field report that is in the edit at the moment. And the final well and the church, they're very near each other. That bull could have held it in, to be honest. And there, after that, a shrine was set up there for St Walstan, and it did miracles. Doesn't specify the miracles,
but just general miracles, just a generally miraculous well,
but only for people of a humble status.
Oh, bit of class war. Oh, I like it.
And he is now the patron saint of agricultural workers, farm animals, farmers, ranchers, and husbandry men, which I looked up, and it means a farmer.
Yes, a husbandry man is just like a double husband. But it's not just farming husbandry. It's a very specific part of farming that we probably can't describe in too much detail within the terms of service of Twitch.
Given how much we've said pizzle,
we're probably taking the pizzle a little bit already.
Taking the pizzle a little.
Taking a little bit of pizzle, yes.
So, not much has been written about St Walstan, but there is evidence that he was venerated pre-1066, so before the Norman conquest. And it was only in doing this research I really, really realised how silly Norman conquest would sound if you didn't have it in context. It's like when you wash your dishes with fairy liquid. Like, if you think about that for a second, if you told your great grandfather that you were gonna, I just need to buy something to wash my dishes, it's fairy liquid,
they think, yeah, he's lost it.
This guy.
No, because your grandfather would have been like a Victorian, and he would have been like, "Oh, fetch my camera. I'm terribly interested in such things."
That's true. Yes.
Your great granddad was Sir Arthur Conan Doyle in this encounter.
Yes. Not Donkey Shakeshaft.
No, no, absolutely.
It's very much the opposite end of the scale.
No, he'd be like, no photos. He doesn't want his mug appearing in the papers. No way. He's got too many people looking out for him.
And there were two sources of this, and the only reason I mention that there are two sources is because one of them, the Nova Legenda Anglicae, somewhere else, was printed in 1516 by an early pioneer of printing called Winkin de Word.
Winkin de Word. I think I've heard of that guy.
Winkin de Word. I think he's Dutch or something, and he was like a pioneer of print.
And a lovely bit of nominative determinism. To be
I
called
think
de Word.
he just lived at the time when they were giving out surnames.
Just handing out surnames.
Yeah, they're like, we've got too many Winkins.
Yes, someone's pointing out. No, it's William de Word from Discworld, who I've heard of. That's right.
Oh. Well, that's also. I think that's the same. I think he is sometimes
it's the same guy.
That went French. I had a little bit of sometimes. Sometimes he is called Winkin or William.
Oh, Winky de Word, Winky Words, Winky Wizzle.
So I'll take.
I think I misread one of the comments, but I'm not sure. But I think I saw a comment saying, "I enjoyed the bull's penis story, but I was expecting a twist at the end."
Hey, that's the pig's pizzle you're thinking of.
Yeah, or a duck.
Or a duck.
Or a duck. It twists all the way down with ducks.
So that's the story of St Walstan.
Raven Stromdance thinks you are pulling an ABK by slipping in a lot of funny names that are tangentially related to the story.
What, a saint called Sexburger?
A clearly narratively central character called Sexburger.
A saint who fed starving nuns whose name was Saint Witherburger. That's nominative determinism. And Donkey. I just mentioned Donkey Shakeshaft because I wanted to. But I don't expect any points for Donkey.
Oh, thank you. That's very, very good of you. So
he don't want anyone to know he was here.
Well, they won't hear it from me, certainly. Well, I think that was a terrific story. But before we move into the scores, I think we've got a little video from you, a little field report.
So
when we come back, do we need to ask people in the old chat?
If we can have we'll need a cat actually. Yeah.
We need, so we need a chat cat.
Category.
We need
category.
You folks in the chat to come up with a category for us. But first,
can I tee up the story?
Do you want to tee it up? Tee away.
I'll tee it right up.
You tee right now.
When I travelled to Norfolk, I did a field report on Bawburgh, which is not what you're about to see. I also went to Swaffham because that was very nearby. The tale of the peddler of Swaffham, which
the
we
famous
covered on
Swaffham
an
peddler
breakfast.
Or tinker,
and because I'd read that there was like some sort of effigy of him in the town, and I thought, you know what? While I'm here, while I'm in the neck of the woods, it'll be good for me to get a picture of me with that effigy.
Yep.
Didn't go to plan. The
energy of this is very much the energy of your dad driving you around in the car, and his patience is thin.
I was fuming.
Here it comes.
So I'm in Swaffham, home of the peddler of Swaffham, obviously. Peddler, again, meaning someone who sells things, not a cyclist. I can't stress that enough. Although if they were a salesman of bikes, I can imagine that would get quite confusing. Purple car. Parked up, and the first place I found was this bookshop. Went in and had a little ask about what's going on. Got the complete lowdown. So there's this thing of the peddler up here, which I'm going to go and have a look for. It's horrible weather. She said it was over by the War Memorial, but I can't find it. If you're near the Costa, then you're in the right sort of place, and that's the Costa. Quite a nice Costa. But I can't find him. That's the Costa. This is the church that Dreams built. Ciao. Found a load of ducks. So John Chapman, the real peddler of Swaffham, donated the money to build the north side of the church, which, if Google Maps isn't lying to me, again, is this side. The one with all the Winnie the Poohs. There's the Winnie the Pooh department. Oh yeah, where's the peddler?
Peddler?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's... see where the buttercross thing is?
Right, no.
I think it's the one with the scaffolding on.
Oh right, okay. Nice one. Thanks very much.
So.
Cheers. What's the cross? I can't see any crosses. It's a bloody vape shop. That's not the peddler. It's called Puff and Stuff. It's a bloody vape shop. So I've just been sent down this little alley by someone. I got a feeling I'm on a wild duck chase. This is just a car park. A very badly managed car park. These are all cars. Oh, hello. There he is. Yes, found you. There you go. Ye tinker of Swaffham, who by a dream did find a great treasure. There he is. Ye tinker of Swaffham, the peddler of Swaffham. As a little sequel to the story, after about a year after he found the initial pot of gold, he looked at the inscription on it and it said, oh, there's another pot of gold. And so he dug down underneath where he'd found the first one and found an even bigger pot of gold. And then he could build the old church. So, I don't know if there's a lesson in that story. It's read inscriptions, read the inscription on a thing. It is horrible weather today. I am not a fan of being outside. Not near the Costa. That's not near the Costa. Apart from in the sense that we're all near a Costa. Like in London, you're not more than 2 metres away from a rat. Try a duck.
So angry, James.
I was furious.
Such genuine fury. I don't know if the podcast can contain that amount of grumpiness.
It really, really got wet. It was dry when I parked up and went in the bookshop. Spoke to a lovely person in that bookshop. Lovely bookshop. And
Series,
they sent me
it was called the bookshop, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Series?
Yeah. CERES books. And they sent me on a wild goose chase. And everyone was lying to me. It's like, maybe like when an outsider comes to town and they're like, oh, we'll send him for some some tartan paint. Purple paint exists. That's a normal thing. We'll send him for some tartan paint.
Or a long stand.
Like yes.
Or sky hooks.
Yes. Yes.
They call it a snipe hunt in America.
Oh,
that kind of prank. Snipes being little birds that are famously difficult to catch, I think.
Oh, but they do exist.
But they do exist. So it's a bad name. It's a confusing name. The name, if anything, is a snipe hunt itself. It's a little trick.
They showed me on a snipe hunt. That's
Go and get some tartan paint. We're going to make the whole place look beautiful. I'm not even sure it's South African anymore. I don't know what it is. IndieBot says, greetings from America, where we pronounce Norfolk even sillier. Norfolk.
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 Where we pronounce it.
They pronounce it Peter Falk. Peter Falk. They pronounce it Peter Falk. That's how they pronounce it.
And one last thing. How are you pronouncing Norfolk? Norfolk.
Their paranormal group suggests a pronunciation which sounds really Geordie, but I can't say in the recording. But it sounds like a Geordie who doesn't believe what you've just told him.
Hey. Yes. We need some scores, guys. We've got some good ones. I've seen some good ones.
Yeah,
I think
throw
I've
up some
got
categories
one.
for us. I think a lot of people were suggesting ducks as a category because the video there was quite duck centric. It was quite duck heavy because you didn't really have a lot of material to play with while the peddler himself was evading you.
Yes,
however,
stationary statue.
Probably the edited version of the podcast is going to have fewer ducks in it than that. So
yeah.
we probably need something else.
Aside from that, there's only been one reference to a duck pizzle.
And that was to a duck's pizzle, yes. To a duck's twizzler.
I think Catagizzle should be one of the categories.
Catagizzle?
Catagizzle.
Okay.
For pizzle.
Yeah.
For amount of
for things
pizzles.
ending izzle. Yeah.
Miracles is a good shout.
Well, actually, that's quite a good suggestion.
Well, yes. Well.
What do you reckon? How do you feel about well, actually?
Yeah, well, actually, yeah, I like that.
All right. Should we go into the scores then? Is that enough suggesting?
Yeah.
Right, thank you very much, suggesters in the chat. Apologies to anybody who is suggesting a brilliant idea between the time that I say this and you hear it. That was a lovely story, James, about some disgusting bulls. Yeah.
Well, bull's got to do what a bull's got to do.
I should have said it was a load of bull. That's because it was potential wordplay missed. I'm rusty. What can I say?
You're too rusty.
Just another example of rust. I'm like a nail coming up through a board, catching you out as you move through the long grass.
Oh, why is there boards in this grass? What's happened
It's
here?
an old floorboard. Yeah. The old Norfolk house is pulled down, leaving nothing but that's a Johannesburg accent there.
Yeah, that is really very South African, very regional South African.
Very specific to one township, yeah.
Go on.
Shall we score this bad boy?
Yeah, please do. I'm ready for it.
Shall we score this good boy?
Yeah, very good boy. He's almost as good as Snoop Dogg.
Absolutely one of the top. Yeah, probably a really good son. Not the good sons you always think of.
Sort of
like
disowned his parents.
Did he?
Because they were royalty, and he was like, "No, I'm going to go and work on a farm."
I thought you were saying Snoop Dogg's parents were royalty.
Don't know what's happened with Snoop Dogg and his parents, to be honest. I hope they're proud.
Okay, what's your first category?
Naming. I'm feeling good about this.
Yeah, well, you should be, because it had a character who was called Witherburger and a character who was called Sexburger. And
yes.
I'm still recovering, James. I'm not at full capacity. I'm not firing on all cylinders. I'm rusty.
No.
To put it in a, to put it simply, to put it in a word, there's nothing I can do to fight back against such an onslaught of names.
Wink into word.
Wink into word?
Wink into word.
There's nothing I can do. Whenever he words, he winks. No, I'm thinking of someone else.
Yeah. Shall I just take my 5 points?
I think you should take your 5. I think you should take your 5 points. Tuck it away in that little pocket. You know that little pocket in your jeans, James. Do you know that's that's for a 5.
Yeah.
That's for a 5 out of 5 for
Marsupial
names.
pocket.
Yes, your little pocket, the marsupial pouch. Yeah.
Did marsupials have a little watch pocket as well?
They do. Yeah, just a little one.
I might have seen a better category in the chat.
You can change it up, James. The power is yours. I'm too rusty to stop you. I'm old. I'm out of the game.
Yeah. Okay. I've got it. Okay.
What's your second category?
But my second category, My second category is supernatural.
But James, the events you described sound so plausible.
There was a bit where an angel told him he was going to die.
Yeah, and then 3 days later,
like that.
Croaked. Yep. Dead.
Classic biblical 3-day turnaround.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a good thing it didn't go over a weekend, otherwise you would have had to wait till Tuesday.
Mm-hmm.
I presume that was 3 working days.
I guess I guess surely they take into account bank holidays.
Yeah.
Angels and stuff.
I would have thought so. Yeah, there's the bill. I've got to say, bulls crossing a river. Who ever heard of such a thing?
They didn't sink.
What a spectacle! They didn't sink. That's pretty good.
And
I do think the cartwheel's imprints being left in the water. I can visualize the visual effect. I can see the BBC's Merlin quality visual effects of those ripples being left frozen.
I did film a river in Bawburgh, and there were a couple of little I believe the word is eddies.
Okay. A couple of Edwards.
A couple of eddies floated in there.
If you're their mam and they're in trouble. Edwards? But otherwise it's Eddies to their mates.
But they looked like they appeared in the same sort of spot, and they would look a little bit like tiny little footprints.
Oh,
potentially is what I thought. Oh, that might be that.
This might be an Eddie scenario.
Not
hey, well, you've
cartwheel.
just busted your own case wide open. So I was about to start dishing out points because of the Merlin-esque visual effects, but
what about
you just explained it through science?
What about the sources of water where a bull weed?
The what?
The sources of water where a bull did a wee-wee.
Sorry, I thought you said wearable weed. I thought this was maybe a Snoop Dogg product.
Hemp shop.
Yeah, I don't know, like a T-shirt or something. Oh, to Nuisance is saying it's that the imprint in the tracks reminds them of the bendy water in Riven, the sequel to Myst. And I appreciate them adding the sequel to Myst, because that is the full name of the game Riven, even though I would have known what they were talking about, even without that info. Yeah, so how could a spring up wearable weed? Well, James, I know I was implying it at the time, but now I'm saying it. There was no spring. That was bull's wee. They were drinking wee-wee. They were drinking wee-wee. They were giving it to children. And people say, oh, it was only the poor people. That's because the rich people aren't out there drinking wee-wee. That's why, yes, the simple peasants, the uneducated folk and the beggars, yes, they're all supping, quaffing, imbibing.
But
probably another word for drinking. Poting.
It's slaking their thirst.
Slaking.
With some hot bull wee.
I don't like it, James.
Oh.
Not for me, thank you. So, 2 out of 5 for Supernatural. Yeah. And that's mainly because the angel predicted his death.
Oh, I forgot to tell you how he died. What happened? An eyewitness when he died.
How did he die?
Well, when at the point of death.
Please present to me this eyewitness from the 11th century, who I implicitly trust.
An eyewitness who saw him die said that at the point of death, a dove flew out of his mouth to into the sky, to heaven. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So that could have been his sort of his spirit.
So that could have been a heavy-handed visual metaphor.
Yeah.
No. Well, you know how I feel about symbolism, James.
Yeah.
I'm against it. I don't care for symbolism. It's still too. Like that pigeon could have been behind his head.
I wondered if he was like a sort of amateur magician.
Yeah.
And he was practicing one trick, and it was sadly his last practice. Okay. Fair enough. The angel removed the wall of the church. That's all I got. Someone's thank you very much.
I did forget about that. Yeah, that's pretty good. Okay, it's a 3. I'll knock it up to 3. Because that's a pretty good trick.
Well done,
that
angels.
Is more impressive than the
thick feet and bulls weeing, and then there being water there. That's not water, mate. Right. Okay, then. Third category. well, actually.
Oh, you're doing like the famous Richard Curtis film Love Actually. Well, actually,
Yeah, but
you've got a series of printed out cards for me.
Yeah, it's a sort of a montage of it's a load of different stories that are completely unrelated, but they're all about wells and how
just
at Christmas,
a guy standing in front of a well,
asking a woman not to fall down a well.
That one of the wells doesn't even speak English. It doesn't matter because the other one is Colin Firth, which is also a body of water.
Oh, you're blowing that case wide open.
Yeah, just
the case of the film that we just made up. Yes, one of the wells thought that its husband was going to buy it a shiny new bucket, but instead gave it a Janis Joplin CD or something.
It's such a bad film, but then Emma Thompson gets sad, and then I get sad, and then I'm annoyed because like, don't make me sad. Terrible film. I'm talking about, of course, I'm talking here about the film Well, Actually.
Well, actually, the
well-based romantic comedy from Loremen Studios.
I realise I should not have allowed the category to influence me on this one because I've picked a story that has maximum 3 wells in it. And we've already decided that 2 of those wells are Bullswee.
Yes, absolutely. A whole load of bull. No, not impressed with 2 of the wells, but wells they were, nonetheless.
And the first well where the vicar well, where he said, I'll give you the last rites, but I haven't got any water. I'm parched.
Yeah, yes.
And then the magic well.
Do you think you can squeeze like a well actually situation where something turned around unexpectedly or someone corrected someone? Can you stretch it? Can you? I try and help you, James, but I'm too rusty.
That's good. Yeah, what about?
You need to go on without me.
No, I'll not leave you behind. I can't carry the ring, Master Beckett King, but I can carry you.
All right, go.
Sorry. I can't carry the.
Someone's
going to get into my blooming Hobbit
precious
study now.
That's Lord of the Rings, famous film about getting the model.
All right. Oh, well, actually, well, yeah, that's a good point. No, that's the same well. That's just a well. All right. What about the nun?
This is like the famous story of the boy who thought he had more than 3 wells.
Okay. There was starving nuns. Well, actually, I'm with Burger.
Okay. It's a stretch, but you worked for it. So it's 4 out of 5.
Yes. Phew. Okay. And final category. Thank you very much, the chat, for this one. Let the cows decide.
Sorry.
Right.
Do you want to explain the category at all? I enjoyed it, but I'm not sure I understand.
Chat.
Wait, no.
Right,
the chat is just people shouting, let the cows decide.
Maybe we should let the cows decide.
I think clearly you've created something, James, but I'm not sure that you know what it is.
No. Everyone's saying let the cows decide in the Twitch chat. The YouTube chat has not yet succumbed.
In the YouTube chat, I can see at least one person complimenting us on how much work we must put into the edits of these to take all this nonsense out. But and to be fair, normally people aren't just heckling with the words "let the cows decide."
Yeah, that would be weird if on a non-live streamed one, if people were shouting "let the cows decide."
I tell you what, if we planned this and I had a cow, how good would that be? I don't think I can do it. Oh, hold on a minute, James. Can you fill for 2 seconds?
Yeah, I'll get my David Bellamy on the farm. Get David Bellamy's
on the farm.
I wonder how many points you get for a cow, guy. Hey, chat. It's just me and you. Let's see how many points you get for a cow. Okay, Hill Farms. You get 10 points for. What's arable? Is that plants, or is that crops? A mixed farm. Hold on. Sheep pen. No, that's not us.
How's it going? Has he helped us out? Has Bellamy?
What I'm trying to do is seeing what David Bellamy would give.
What would
for a cow.
WWBD? What would Bellamy do?
Muck spreader. Should it be called a pong vehicle? There's a little joke. There's a little joke in it.
Is that a joke?
Where did you see/smell one?
Very good.
Score 15.
So, James, if you want to move into a cow-based decision model... If you want to move into a cow-based decision model, I can do my one impression, which isn't South African.
Is it a South African cow?
It's a South African... It's an Angus cow. Are you ready for that?
Mm-hmm.
All right, hold on. There you go.
That's
it's
very good.
Very difficult to get the horns in. I don't know what. They're caught. There we go.
There he is.
He's a little lopsided. There we go. There. Hello, James. It's me. I'm a Scottish cow. I'm just popped in from the old outdoors there to. People are asking for me to add in David Lynch to the accent. Hello, James. It's me, David Lynch, also a cow. Just popped in to do the scores for this category.
Well, David Lynch,
yes?
cow.
What?
Are you a form of Highland cattle?
Yes, I'll field this one, David. Yes, the Angus cow is a form of Highland cow. No, you know what? I think I'm doing a Highland cow, not an Angus cow. I think I'm confused altogether. Yes, the chat are correcting me on what type of cow I am. I'm a Highland cow because I've got ginger hair. I'm not an Angus cow at all.
You've got long hair and long horns. That's a score of 25 from Bellamy.
From David Bellamy's On the Farm I Spy on the Farm book.
Yeah. You only get 15 for a Hereford.
Well.
25 for a Jersey.
Yeah.
Your big one you want to see is the red poll.
The red what? The red poll.
Poll. Because it's got no horns. Its horns have been polled.
Someone's pulled his horns right off.
They pulled them off.
They pulled the wee boy's horns right off his head. Well, yeah. Paul.
They pulled
just Paul. What an odd name for a cow.
Let the cows decide. Paul.
Well, I've to be honest, my arms are getting a bit tired from holding these fake horns. By the way, listeners, I've been holding fake plastic cow's horns to my head for a while.
Probably check that out in the YouTube video if
I've
this
no
one doesn't
idea
get
how
banned.
any of this is going to work in the edit. I was David Lynch for a while there.
And South African.
And I haven't even done
We're going to have to leave a lot in from the beginning.
We're going to have to leave quite a lot in from the beginning. What a nightmare.
And I mean, we probably shouldn't sort of talk about it so badly here when all the people we're talking to have had to sit through every single second of it.
Yes, let's not lampshade it too much. James, I think it was a strong entry, and it's 5 out of 5 for me. Thank you. David, are you in agreement? Yes, I agree. It's a solid 5 out of 5. And what do you think, South African cow? Yes, I also agree. It's 5 out of 5 for let the cows decide.
I was really worried because there's only one number between 1 and 5 that for a cow rhymes with moo.
And that's 2. Oh,
and that
yeah.
is 2. So
well, luckily I can't do puns, so I didn't spot that.
Yes. Oh, thank goodness, you're too rusty.
I'm too rusty. I'm too rusty. I'm like the old gate that released all those cows into the podcast.
Nice one, the cows.
The cows have spoken.
Well then.
Well, I think that's the end, isn't it? We both got a little bit tired there.
Yeah. Well, I think that's a natural end.
Yeah, I look forward to us trying to come up with a 30-second intro that explains that I'm rusty and also that we're going to do a lot of South African accents.
And David Lynch is going to pop up at the end pretending to be a cow.
And as IndieBot says,
be an adjudicating cow.
Now then get into my cow study. So that will be fun.
Oh, no. Oh, and your David Lynch study.
And my David Lynch study. Yeah.
You just pull the curtains.
It's yeah, but it's very hard to get out because you're all running around and then it's a statue or something.
Just tapping at the curtains, trying to find the middle.
Mm-hmm.
Ah, great.
Well, it did come to a natural end, and then I started reading the chat, which is, I think, I think they're going weird, James. I think they're getting weirder.
The people in the chat.
The people in the chat, yeah.
Yeah, big time.
Getting weirder.
Well, thank you very much for joining us on Twitch and YouTube. If you want more things, then you can get on the Patreon, and there's more stuff there. There is extra podcast episodes. The Sean Burke extra recently was a lot of fun. I think it was a full episode. Basically, it was a whole extra episode.
Yeah, there was a lot of nonsense. A lot of nonsense cut out of that episode. A lot of solid nonsense.
Yes. Yeah, thanks everyone for coming. And Alistair,
thank you.
I really hope you feel better soon.
I hope I feel a little bit better soon as well. Thank you, James. Thank you, everyone, and goodbye.
Night, night.
Bye.